Air horn. Welcome to Anime Sickos, folks. Ooh, we're back. Oh, it's the best show. It's the show you love. It's the podcast for geniuses. And what do we do in the podcast for geniuses? Why, by golly, we discuss the 4 pillars of modern misery, the 4 things that you can do: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom. I am an anime sicko.
I'm Joe. I'm an anime sicko. You said the 4 things you can do. They're the worst things you can do and the only things you can do.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It sucks. Folks, let it be known. We've already lost. There's no crawling back from this. But of course, we're not. Joe, are we all alone today? Are we alone looking at each other feeling sad like we usually do?
No, I feel like this is a rhetorical question, but
yeah, I mean, it could, Joe, and I'm not gonna, insult your intelligence, but it could be the fact that like we have seen and been talking to a third person in the room the whole time
That's
for
true.
like an hour. That may have tipped you off to the question, but I'm asking it anyway. Please answer.
we are joined. We are joined by a one O'Reilly. Would you like to give us your spiel?
Hi. Hello. Hi, what's good? My name is Riley Hopkins. You may know me from such things as another Shufflequest episode.
Yeah.
Interstitial, If Not Us, Then Who? 294 Note Streak, Bed Bath & Bee. I've been other places.
Yeah.
But basically, you may know me. Rev Rybread on Twitter. He, they pronouns. You get it. You know this whole... I think you understand the deal, the energy that I'm approaching this with. I'm meeting.
Mm-hmm. You crucially, I think, and this is always a shock when we have another guest on, especially another guest who to the common person would appear to be a white man. You don't sound like the two of us, which is like so.
Yeah. The only reason this podcast took off is because Tom and I don't have the same voice.
If you have more than 3 people with the same voice in the same room, you just become a McElroy trio, and you can't have that happen.
Yeah.
That's already been taken. Their spot's taken.
Yeah, there's room for one of those.
Well,
They
actually,
burned the bridge behind them.
You can kill and usurp them, which is wild.
Yeah, but then you have to like you don't become Riley McElroy. Like you killed Travis. You're like, finally Travis is gone. No, now you're Travis. Now you make the worst jokes.
No, it's happening.
Anyway, Riley, we got to ask you. We ask every guest this question: are you an anime sicko?
Am I an anime sicko? Am I a sicko? Yes. But an anime one? I don't think I've earned that title.
Ooh. No one's ever treated it like an honor
Yeah, no.
that they have yet to achieve.
Earn? That's like saying, like, have you fallen in the mud? And it's like, well, I did fall down into a puddle full of mud, but I'm not sure I've leveled up high enough. And it's like, oh, buddy, oh.
Are you a dirty bastard, baby?
Yeah. It's like, well, I am a dirty bastard, but I'm pretty old. And it's like, no, come on.
I don't think I can claim to be an anime sicko because I am only just now, as of this last year, as of 2019, started Naruto for the first time. So
I'm reading it for the first. Are you reading it or watching it?
I'm watching the dub.
Okay, I am reading it because it's just like a faster way for me to consume something. You can mainline the ninja story much better as a manga.
That's about. This is now reminding me that you will also soon know me from another podcast, which is, I think we're calling it Naruto. I need to figure out exactly. We're only watching the filler.
Oh, fuck.
And there are 3 of us, one of who's never watched Naruto before, and we're trying to figure out what the truth is to that show.
Dude, okay, I'm going to...
It's called Do Not Believe It. Sorry.
Fuck. Jesus. I'm going to remove your agency from you. I'm taking it back. You are an anime sicko. You were the first person to answer wrong.
So the filler, I'm assuming the filler is the same thing as it is with like Dragon Ball, where they needed to crank out episodes while the manga caught up, or that could be produced.
Yep.
So do they go to driving school?
So in the episode we watched last week, was the first one. We watched them run. They accidentally came on television 30 minutes before the show, and so it had like the TV box around it, and Kakashi had to run and grab the new episode and come back with it, so that way they could start the show. So they just recap the previous 20 episodes while it happened. However, since we are assuming that this is the truth, this is what we are meant to see. This is not what the lies that come in the air quotes canon episodes, with the filler being the true canon. We know that. So in Naruto, you can progress your life by finding the VHS tape for the next day. And what does that entail? If you can progress your life in such a way, if you could go and you could find that tape that contains your fucking January 10th, Friday, 2020, then you just pop it in, boom, you watch it, you're good.
If you don't find the tape, you die.
Or do you just live in this day?
No, I don't want to step on your toes. I'm sure that as a scholar you've surmised this, but I mean, Naruto, he's an extreme dude who can do excellent things. He's a very athletic young boy.
You're describing him like he's a surfer right now.
You're getting close, because I would posit, is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in the Naruto universe, and the secret tapes are thus?
Oh, orange on the Tony Hawk logo. It's been in front of us the whole time. Is Tony Hawk a shinobi?
I think
Shinobi Hawk.
Shit. Well, yeah.
Yeah, he wants the tape so he can keep living.
He can keep living, and he collects them for himself so nobody else can see them. Hence why no one knows who he is when they see him.
Exactly. This is all making fucking sense. And also, like, why would you spend all your time getting good at skateboarding, a useless sport that was popular for seconds?
Mainly as a result of the games.
Yeah. Yes. No, he was doing it. He needs to do a 900 because that's how you get a combo that leads to the tape.
Yeah, it's true. So that way he could live to see his January 20th.
Yeah.
Damn, makes you think. But that is why I'm not a sicko, and it has been actually turned around on me that I am the emblem of an anime sicko.
How much filler is in the anime?
I'm so glad you asked, because I did this math and was afraid nobody would fucking ask me about it.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
I had to crunch the. We have some graphs here, which I can pass around the table.
Oh yeah,
right here. If you'll take that and pass it around,
folks, listeners at home. I'm looking at this phone from afar. There's a pie graph upon it.
Oh man, when we post this episode, we will ask to include this as well. The filler is straight up fucking 40%.
Oh my god!
I have the actual number count too. You'll notice in the background of those, you'll have the sinner Naruto, and then the true Messiah Mecha Naruto, who only appears in the true tales.
Oh my god!
I think the number is, in Naruto there are 88 episodes of filler. In Shippuden, there are 185 episodes of filler.
Whoa,
in
yeah,
Boruto,
baby.
there are 112 episodes of filler.
Boruto.
Therefore, we will be watching a total of 385 episodes of filler content.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this in the show previously. The funniest thing in the world to us is that his son is named Boruto. It's actually like I don't.
How much do you want to know about Boruto? Because I did a 10-hour podcast where we recapped all of Boruto.
None.
I think I might be an anime sicko. Shit.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, like, when you were handing out the fucking charts, it's like you have taken cog energy from the job pillar where you make graphs, and then you have melded it with anime. You're doing sicko work. Like,
Yeah.
this is, you couldn't be, like, I'm like getting, like, folks, I try not to get actually angry during these recordings, but I just feel like disrespected and lied to.
Well, here's the thing. I see you pointing at these two pillars right here, but there's a third over there that says posting. And I want you to know that 10-hour Boruto episode was a podcast.
Yeah, that's podcasts are posting.
Yeah,
So let me get that third pillar over here to a 3-pillar thing. What's that last pillar? Jobs?
Gaming.
Well, Jobs was the graph
the graph.
energy you brought to the table.
We did play the Boruto game in the middle of that podcast, and that podcast is part of an ARG. I have gotten the 4 seals of Exodia here, and I am shredding them from my corporeal form.
Yes, and like all anime sickos, when you get all 4 parts of Exodia, you are instantly killed. Because, oh no, being anime sicko sucks.
Thank God.
I don't know that I don't watch the One Piece anime because I hear it's real bad.
So I watched it, not all of it, but my experience of watching it that told you to check it out and got you reading the manga was actually watching the anime, which, like, there are parts that are, like, not great.
That's anime.
Yeah.
But yet that's exactly the energy I went into it. I was like, what I'm watching is anime.
Yeah.
So if I appreciate it for that, I'm bulletproof, baby.
Yeah. But my understanding with One Piece is that they don't have as much filler as Naruto. There is some filler, but the way they get around having to have filler is just they pace shit so slow.
There is definitely like this is not like actually going to happen, but imagine like a big boulder is going to fall on Luffy, and it's like 20 minutes of people reacting.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, a boulder, that's gonna be bad. And Luffy's like, a boulder, no.
And then there's a flashback to like the Earth being formed and where the boulder came from.
So the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that we know that there's only been one anime that's been born without sin, and that is Hunter x Hunter.
Oh hell yeah, yes. So the thing about Hunter x Hunter, what am I fucking saying? There's an X. I can see it.
Are you supposed to say the X?
I was told not to say the X.
I was told that too, but I refuse because
I see a rebel.
I mean, okay. You see the title, right? Is there an X there? Riley, do you see an X?
Mm-hmm.
Do you doubt your eyes?
Let me tell you a little bit something. In elementary school, I played a farmer in a school play by the name of Herb, and the thing I would say is, my name is Herb, the H is silent, you know. That X is silent.
Nah, I refuse. Anyway, the point being, we know you're a Hunter x Hunter sicko. This is well known. It's a fucking dope anime. We've done an episode about it. But my brother, who also likes Hunter x Hunter, he let me know about a piece of trivia that he found out, because his sort of take on Gon is that he's not brave, he is fearless. He literally does not know how to be afraid of anything. Mm-hmm. And so he found a article, it's a Wikipedia, about a person with a particular type of brain damage that prevented them from feeling fear. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to go ahead and read that Wikipedia article. And I'm just going to replace the name of this person with Gon and swap the pronouns from her to his. And you let me know when this isn't fucking canon. Experiments with Gon revealed no fear in response to exposure and handling of snakes and spiders. Instead, only interest, curiosity, and excitement. Gon is described as very outgoing, extremely friendly, and uninhibited, as well as somewhat coquettish. And having an abnormally high desire and tendency to approach others. He is greatly impaired in recognizing negative social cues and has difficulty judging trustworthiness and approachability in the faces of others.
The first thing that happens in the anime is someone was like, hey kid, drink the diarrhea soda I made. And then he fucking almost does.
I love that that next scene of Killua going, I've drank poison my entire life.
Especially diarrhea poison. That's my favorite one. That's actually my favorite drink. I prefer it.
Fuck me up. You got more of those, loser. Yeah, no, that's Gon. Gon has two emotions, two phys states of being, and it is, I'm your friend, and I'll destroy you.
Yeah. And like he'll meet like an actual genocider who like just did a ton of genocide and clearly is stronger than him in every way. And he's just like, hey buddy, genocide doesn't seem rad to me. Why would you do that? Like, why would you decide to do that?
You know what seems not cool?
And it's not like a moral judgment. He's just like, what that didn't seem like a fun thing to do. So like, what was the appeal to you?
Talk me through your thought process right now. End of series Gon grows up to be a therapist.
So Riley, you're a game designer, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
You've made some great games. One of which, pretty successful game. It did a great Kickstarter. It's been on a bunch of actual play podcasts that have been lauded and delighted. Everyone loves them. There's of course, the titular Interstitial podcast, and then you were on Shuffle Quest. I hear that's good.
I heard good things.
I mean, so like, seems like you got it made. You hit a home run on Interstitial. Our Hearts Intertwined, a powered by the Apocalypse RPG, inspired by Kingdom Hearts. Man, you made it. You did it.
Oh, did it?
You're retired now.
No, I'm staring into the middle distance. Like, Interstitial's done me very well, and I'm super excited about that. It is like well liked, and people like to play it, which is it's a huge fucking thing. But no, you know how like on my itch.io, if I was to look it up right now, the total amount of money I have made off interstitial sales in that time since January of last year. Yeah, I've had to do this for taxes actually. It's like just under 3,000.
That's crazy considering how, like, of course, I'm in a more RPG-centric circle, but to me, that's like the guy who invented Velcro was just slipped to 20.
But the thing is if you learn that the guy who invented Velcro didn't invent Velcro, and actually there's been a community online that's just done Velcro. They've been doing Velcro for years. There was Velcro.net.
This fucking, like, this, so I sort of had an inkling that there was no way to sustain yourself by doing good things that bring joy into the world. But actually having it confirmed sucks.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I work a minimum wage job. College dropout. That's my cards. Like, it sucks, but that's what I'm working with. Having $3,000 extra in a year has changed my life. I haven't had to run out of money at the end of like paychecks. Like, I'm like, oh, is this a saving? Oh, savings here. Thank God. It's like $25 a paycheck, but God damn it, I'll take it. Like, it is still like life-changing in that way. But the biggest reason that I can survive while making games and also having a day job is my wife finished college and actually has a like professional desk job and is very good at it. Mm-hmm. And so God bless my wife.
Hell yeah, wife guys unite.
Yeah. My girlfriend is substantially more educated and successful than me, and if she changes her mind on me, it's gonna be rough.
It's been so like the difference in the things we've been able to do because I have the backing of interstitial and like the other games I'm making has been just so overwhelmingly great. But yeah, for the people who are like, I'm gonna make job games full time, I'm like, fuck.
Like
how?
Do you not know? Like how could that even? Like, it doesn't seem possible to me. Like, can that happen?
Yeah, so what does it have to do? Like, what scale needs to happen?
You don't live in a city. You live in like Alaska, or you live in like a somewhere in Pennsylvania, or like a city that will pay you to be a online worker and a young person moving into that town. Because there's a lot of cities in like the South and such that are like, hey, yo, you move here as a young person, we are losing people, so please move here.
Not that it's in the South, but I think Vermont does that too.
Yeah, and so like that and rent is much cheaper. You can maybe own a home. Can you imagine?
No, like literally not.
Yeah, what would that be like? The other day, my mother-in-law was like, "Are you saving money for retirement?" I was like, "Ha!"
You mean a box to die in?
Yeah.
Oh God, but yeah, like shout out to my mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. It's just that is never going to be something in the cards, and like especially when you look on Twitter, if you even considering I make games, I also do podcasts and shit. Like and like looking at like podcasters who are like, I'm trying to podcast full time. When you get to people who are like even making like $10,000 a month on Patreon, then they have a whole network. They have editors. They have like several other people that they're like trying to get a home for, and then also survive. Like it's like making content and like surviving on just that is a goal that is beyond me. But like I'm lucky enough that I work a minimum wage job in which they have me on a like straight up salary. Like I have a fixed amount. I don't have hours that change every week.
That's pretty dope.
I do legit have benefits from like the pet store, which rules.
Okay, that's rare for retail. Yeah, so that's good.
It's a small staff, and like also I can jack around a lot during the day. So like I spend a lot of the day writing games, especially like the last 3 hours of work when I'm sitting there alone staring at a computer.
Fuck yeah.
I'm just like, what if click 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 click.
I feel like because a lot of these financial benchmarks that we associate with adulthood are just like fucked up, the real benchmarks are what you just described, which is like you have a job where you can carve out 3 hours of your life a day to do something that you find creatively fulfilling. Like that is our version of a house.
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking Jesus.
Because like if the problem is trying to judge yourself by like the goalposts that your parents set up is impossible because they had a different field they were playing on. You can't kick a field goal with a hockey puck. Like that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And so you have to rearrange your goalposts and understand like what your direction is and how you can approach it. Because like when you figure that out, when you like have recontextualized and reframed the scale on which you wish to grow, you feel so much better because you're not like, shit, my friend just bought a house. And it's like, well, they still live at home and they've married an engineer. Like there's like, they have a different field than you. You are not playing the same game.
Yeah, like it's very easy, and boy, does it happen to me a lot, to get super depressed about how, like, in this GD world, this place, it steams me so.
World is a fuck.
That like joy and creativity and play and happiness and goodness is just objectively not important or valued in any way, to the point where like you can make a game that people love and that like when people hear about it they light up, that like to just as their brain registers what kind of freedom that game is going to afford them, and it gives you $3,000 and you got to stay working at the store, buddy. But like, yeah, you just
the other thing that's interesting about that, specifically when you talk about like it's a game that people recognize and want to play. Writing a good game is like different than writing a good game that people want to play. That's a whole nother challenge, and I sidestepped that challenge by going like, "Hey, do copyright theft."
Yeah,
which is like kind of like. There are so many, like, there are games that are so good that are out there right now that aren't getting bought. And, like, one of my friends pointed out that, like, any game can be interstitial if you aren't a coward. And I'm like, yeah, any game can be interstitial if you aren't a coward. Y'all play games that aren't interstitial and do that thing. Like, it is simply a rule set that just says, do what you want. And so many times rule sets don't do that.
People don't know what they haven't been allowed to do yet. They don't know better.
They don't know how to break their bonds. They don't know how to drop the weighted clothing. Fuck.
You said, though, you dropped out of college, but you just told me, since you found a way to sidestep copyright, you're a lawyer. You're
Yeah.
You have a whatever comes after a JD, a super JD?
A super. I believe it's actually JDZ.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Super comes after that.
Yes, all right. And
You don't want a JD Kai. You got to move past that real quick.
JDGT. You get real hairy.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
The one thing Tom and I talk about is, I think this also aligns with the way that you either make a ton of money doing something or you kind of like tread water as a small fish, which is the way that tabletop RPGs for 90% of the population means D&D.
Yeah.
And if that's, which is not to say like Tom actually I think dislikes D&D more than I do. I'm actually pretty agnostic, border positive on it. But I think it's worth mentioning about that sort of dynamic that you have in this hobby. You have this thing that's like taking up all the oxygen in the room, and it like doesn't need to be like that. And it's very interesting because there's a lot of people that enter the hobby to do D&D, and they actually never also move to different options.
Can you imagine if you met a dude who only listened to Metallica, and that was it? And they were just like, "Yeah, I listen to music." And you're like, "Oh, cool! Like, what bands?" And they're like, "Metallica."
He seems like a real guy that there's a lot of.
I know, and that sucks. like it is that D&D is the game, and it is not like it's a game that like doesn't do a lot of stuff. It does it gives you fun machinations, and it has, I think, done a really great job at like the level up feel good. Level up feel good in D&D, and like having a bunch of tools at your disposal, but it's kind of a bad game to learn about, learn from, because also like it's GM tools, like it telling you how to run it, bad. It doesn't hold your hand on that.
In my experience, new players are, and this might just be the case for new players to tabletop games in general, but I feel like D&D, in my experience, people are afraid to do the wrong thing.
Yep.
And maybe it's because it has quite a lot of rules, and when you're a new person, the way you navigate them is like being very afraid you're going to do something wrong.
Yeah, it's rules and math.
Yeah. And like what I see a lot is, and this I just can't listen to D&D podcasts. Like, even if I know they're going to be good, like, I can't do it because the first 3 episodes are going to have, without fucking fail, every single person is going to make a joke about not knowing what a proficiency bonus is. And it's like, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I mean, the proficiency bonus is just a nonsense math shit that literally can't be understood.
Mm-hmm. There are many reasons I like indie games. I hate counting. If I have a game, if I ever make a game that makes you have to count, I need you to kill me. Because like I have been replaced by a doppelganger, and I am not who I say I am. I don't fuck with math, and like that is my biggest thing when running into D&D. Besides, like my biggest thing running into D&D as a person who play game, like and just like looking at it at that level, is the just nonstop modifier counting, bop, 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 bop.
There's a lot.
It kills me. You know, it's a game that is like a lot like D&D in its modularity and in its chunkiness, but don't make me count.
What?
Genesis.
Fuck yeah, we love that. We played that for the last arc in Shuffle Quest.
Mm-hmm. I love Genesis. I love the Star Wars. I like the Fantasy Flight Star Wars games that they did, where they got the Genesis system, like Force and Destiny, Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion. Like those fucking rule. But like, so like a friend of mine pointed out, like that is good. I do like that one better than D&D. But what happens when all your dice cancel out? It's like, well, you just kind of sit there and go, I guess nothing happens. Like on a failure with no advantage or threat,
you fuck up.
You fucked up.
Did it bad.
And like that feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so like then you house roll that to like when you roll all blanks, it goes in the favor of the players. It's like, all right, cool. Like you failed at it, but somebody next to you did it. Like somebody else did it. You just didn't get the credit for it, which is like a little bit of a Star Wars thing. But that's not in the rules. And so like indie games that approach failure with the idea of like, no matter what, we're going to keep progressing. Mm-hmm. Something is going to happen. And even better, games that let you choose when you fail. Mwah.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Like that was something like I was talking about. Like so often in Shovel Quest, spoiler behind the curtain, I'll just see the dice roll and be like, actually, that like if we did that, it'd suck. So we're gonna do something fucking else. Like I would love an RPG where you just like have like 3 success tokens, 3 middle tokens, and 3 fail tokens, and like once they're all picked, then they go back in the pool.
Can I talk to you about belonging outside belonging?
Sure.
It's a game system where you have 3 settings. You have weak moves, strong moves, and something else. But your weak moves are all like different ways of failure. And then as you do those, you get more tokens that you can spend on strong moves that are successes.
I'm not hearing any numbers, no dice.
No.
Fuck.
You don't have to fucking count. Base boost me. Yes. It's outside belonging games are good, and there's a lot of them that are like
hollering.
now coming out.
Give me this.
They're tasty. They're good. That's that shit I do like. I do like rolling dice. That's the thing. I do like that feeling of clunk, clunk, clunk. I just don't like failing, which is why like Interstitial has like the link system and like you can spend this to re-roll because I want to pick when I fail because I will still fail. I think it's charming to fail a roll. Like it sometimes drama and story calls for that. But I want to have some sort of currency that I can spend to like rid myself of everything to try to not fail a roll. Because like I'm playing an Urban Shadows game right now, and when I fail a roll, it sucks to just be like, and that's it, bye. Like the story still move forward, the story still do something, but it sucks. I don't like we were talking in the car on the way over about how I like it in a game when you like in a video game when like you are like I am become death. Very easy, very easy, very easy. I will defeat all my enemies with no problem. I like that feeling.
Yeah.
And so like when you can reach that in a tabletop RPG, which D&D does extremely well, when you hit that level and it's like you are untouchable.
Yeah.
You are but a god.
The issue with D&D though is before you get to that point, unless you start the campaign at that, which then has like the reward dopamine system is kind of fucked up because you started there. An early low-level D&D campaign is like, you see a jigsaw puzzle that's got 2 pieces. Do you think you can do it? And then like, you don't.
And then there's like one goblin shows up. It's time to like rub a stick against him for 3 hours and hope you don't just sort of explode before it's over.
You see a jigsaw puzzle, roll intelligence. You see a bunch of cards. It's upside down. down.
So we've talked a lot about it leveling up and advancing and that sort of reward dopamine thing. This is a sort of point of contention between Joe and I as it comes to RPGs, and probably because I GM and I don't want to fucking deal with it. I think leveling up sucks. I don't care about it, and I wish it was taken out of every single game.
Let me talk to you about belonging outside belonging games. They have like a very easy progression system or no progression at all.
I love it. Hell yes.
I like the ding. I like the dopamine hit. I like being stronger because I like in game to be strong. That's just like the person I am. But like what's interesting in a lot of indie spaces right now is the idea of just like, what is advancement? How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
And so like people will make games where like you advance by losing. Like your stats.
Ooh, a roguelike game.
No. Like when you advance, when you level up, get rid of one of your moves. Like why do you no longer need that move?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not need to go back to that well? You've changed as a person.
That's
Like that
up.
idea.
I love
That's cool. And like there's like that's like lateral thing because then you'll gain like another ability maybe, or sometimes you'll just get when you can no longer do anything, you've retired.
Yeah,
you're free.
I love that.
And like advancement is being fucking played with in the indie space so much right now.
That's really cool because D&D also has the issue is if you're a spellcaster, really any character, but if you're a spellcaster and your campaign's far along, you basically got like 90 fucking things you can do, and you're not going to use half of them because your early spells are like, make a vine, and you're never going to do that again. So the fact that to just remove it and replace it with something more meaningful, it seems like so fucking obvious when you say it. It now seems like a war crime that's not how it is.
You just curate the things you have into the things that you like.
I think also the reason that I think advancement sucks and I don't give a shit about it and I never use it is that, and this is something that'll be very evident if you've listened to Shuffle Quest and have heard my GMing style. I hate combat and I don't think it's fun. And I think, I'd hate it. I hate combat. I hate running it. I hate doing it. And I don't think it's fun to listen to. I don't think any die roll during combat can give you an interesting result unless it ends the combat. I hate it.
Can you imagine a world where instead of being based in war games and tactics games like RPGs are, they were instead based in like internet play-by-posts?
I want that so fucking bad. I mean, that's basically what Shuffle Quest ends up being.
Yeah. I like combat. I don't think it's like inherently bad. I think doing cool stuff in fights is something that's appealing to me. Where I do really relate to Tom is there's a certain point where if there's like dice being rolled and like there's sort of just machinations and there's like things being juggled, it's basically like you're just colonizing like the GM's frontal lobe and making sure he can keep all this shit like happening, and that I don't like.
It hits my brain. I will always remember a game I played in high school. I was in a friend's basement. We're playing a tabletop game, and we have a bunch of tacks because we didn't have minis, so we just had tacks on a corkboard.
Oh yeah,
and there's just a ton of them because it's a big zombie swarm. And like it was like, get in this helicopter, and we were like, no, we have to fight these zombies. And for 2 hours we did, and it got to a point where it's just like tis one attacks tat one, tis one attacks tat one, and like that is when it's at its worst.
Yeah,
that's like when combat has the chance to become that. Like that sucks. When you can do combat in like the shonen anime style, where it's about the story that the combat is telling, or what does that punch mean? What does Gohan using a fucking special beam cannon mean? What would that mean? That's tasty. That's that's that good.
Like I want all combat to be like the wrestling in Nathan Pauletta's excellent worldwide wrestling RPG, where you just describe the shit you do, and it all happens. It all fucking happens. You don't have to roll to make sure it happens. It all happens. You did it all.
Yes.
Like a fucking thing that I bring out a lot in Shuffle Quest when I want to just skip the rules and have some story is be like, some time passes. What does everyone do? Like, what did you do? And we just go around. Like, that's how combat should be. Where it's just like, you want to do something cool during combat? Just fucking say that you did.
Yeah. And why do games have why do we have hit points?
Yeah, there is definitely a fascination with the idea that getting injured is like the only barometer of how you're doing. And that's, when you think about it, kind of dumb.
Yeah, hit points come from when, like, in war games, like original war games, how do we describe how strong a big boat is? It could take 6 hit points. Yeah. And then RPGs were like, yes, that is how we will, that is important for us. And like, nah.
Yeah, because especially if you're doing like an anime boy, when has in an anime getting hit a lot been like a problem?
As we all know, the best shit happens when you're almost dead.
Yes. Getting hit a lot is just like that doesn't matter. You lose when you give up.
Yeah, what matters is what do you do when you get back up?
Yeah.
That is that good shit. That is like that anime Power Rangers Fast and Furious. That is all that same hat. Ah.
We're the anime sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Riley, you just in the end of that last segment, you mentioned Power Rangers. Now you've made a game, if not us, then who, about Power Rangers. You talk a lot about the Power Rangers. You watch the Power Rangers. You just do you post about it so often.
It's very sincere. It's very sincere.
Now, this is odd to me, and I'm not going to judge you, but it's odd to me, and I'll tell you why. It's because when I think of Power Rangers, I'm like, oh, that's the show for babies that sucks.
Here, two things. Is show for babies often sucks.
What? Why are you lying? How come?
So, let me talk to you about a show called Power Rangers Turbo. It's traditionally, a lot of people don't like it. They have cars, like they drive around, and they have like car cages for their masks, but the end of that series comes and the bad guys just fucking overtake the power center. The bad guys frankly win. Divatox strolls in and beats the shit out of these kids and their homes and like destroys it. And she's got them up against the wall. They're gonna go down. They've destroyed their morphers. These kids can't morph, but they're still fighting. And then Divatox gets called away. And like, I'll come back to this later. You aren't going anywhere. And like it's a big villain meetup in the sky, in space, and they're like, what do we do? And one of them says, well, we can't do anything. We don't have our powers. And then one of them gets up on a rock and goes, I'm sorry, what? Well, if we don't fight them, who will? Like, we are the only ones who know about this. We're the only ones. I don't care if we're going to go to space as teenagers and die. If we don't do it, no one will. And so we have to. And then they break into NASA, they steal a spaceship, and they go to space with the head of Alpha 5 with them. And there they find a new Power Ranger whose team has died. He is the last one left. And they get together with him. They take on the suits of his fallen friends, become the In-Space Rangers, and fight to save the universe.
What's happened to their cars? They get their cars back?
So in that series, yes, they find one of their cars, they come back to Earth, and then the one Ranger who was left behind, who like was like, I'm gonna stay here and like hold off like the government.
Yeah, because we did a huge federal crime.
They find him and like he's just like, oh my god, y'all, you're okay, like, and he has his car still, and like you'll see that all the time, like because once a Ranger, always a Ranger. Have you ever heard about Forever Red?
No, I've not.
Oh, I'm so glad I get to be here for this. On the 10th season of Power Rangers,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
there is a moment where the Red Ranger of that season, Cole, it's Wild Force, is talking to whoever like on his fucking team, and then somebody drives up in a fucking motorcycle and takes off the helmet. It's a Red Ranger from a different season. They're like, Cole? Like, yeah? Red Ranger? Yeah. Come with me. We have a mission we have to do. And they roll into a hangar, and every Red Ranger from every other season is there. And they're all like talking it up and there's one missing, and it's Jason. It's the first one. And like Tommy's there, and he's like, I thought Jason would be here, but he's not. And we have to do this together. We're Red Rangers. We can do this. And they get out, and then again, a motorcycle rolls up, and Jason takes off the helmet. No, you didn't think you were going to do this without me, huh? And they're like, you, new one? Cool. And it's sick, and they fight, and they have a long unmorphed fight scene on the moon, and then they morph together. There's a red explosion. Power Rangers is anime. It is playing it for the cheap seats. It is painting with a broad brush, so I don't have to go like, now do you really think, like, I know that Hisoka's evil, but is he like evil? It's like, I get it. Bad guy is bad. Yes, cool. But like the moments of like good storytelling in there, and the moments of triumph, and the moments of like people standing up against a unending fury that will hold them down and wants to hold them down and wants to beat them into submission because it knows you can't do anything, but those kids looking at that and going, no, I can, and I will.
Does the show ever get away from its practical effects, or does it fully
the fucking rubber suits, dude? They're so bad.
No.
I hate to look at them.
That is a style. But I feel you. I feel you. Let me stop you right there, because yes, they do suck. Every time I hear the fucking Turtonator and it's a turtle volcano man, it's you suck. But like Fast and Furious isn't about the cars, Power Rangers isn't about the fights.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the characters happening in that moment, and the times you get to see a writer who knows what they're doing. Let that character shine.
I just want to interrupt you for a second and remind you that you claimed not to be an anime sicko earlier.
Yeah.
And if you had asked me if I'm a baby school sicko, if I love dumb shit for babies, yes.
That's anime! That's anime!
Yeah, again, I said this on the way over. It's Tom and I are not watching cerebral cyberpunk.
Yeah, we're not watching anime that's gonna have a meditation on the nature of existence in this cruel world.
No, with the part of Trigun at the end where he becomes a tree and it makes you think, fuck it, I hate it.
I don't want to think.
Yeah, that tree has no guns.
His hair didn't get bigger at all.
If I can recommend just try one season, Power Rangers RPM, get in gear.
Are they in, do they have motorcycles?
They have cars.
Okay.
The opening shot, it is you have a monologue.
Yeah, okay.
The world has been destroyed. The only thing that is left is the domed city of Corinth, and in front of it stand the 3 Power Rangers to protect it from the robot hordes of Vengeance. And then we start out on the desert wastes, and we see a black Mad Max car race over the hill.
I like that.
It's speeding through. It's left and right, and then it pulls up on a hill, and a boot gets out, and we don't see the face, and there's just a little dandelion in the ground. And he looks at it, and then he gets back in the car and drives away. In there is a man named Dylan. He can't remember his past. And he picks up another dude who's the Green Ranger. And they
From the store.
They get to the domed city of Corinth, and those two fucking stumble into having their morphers, and they join the 3 professionals on that team, and they all have great stories that they go Ranger Operator Series Green is actually, he's a con man, and he was he'd steal from people, but then he was told to steal a bunch of medicine that was going to a hospital, and he's nah, fuck this. And so that's why he was outside of the dome, is because the mafia was trying to fucking kill him, and because he diverted this big shipment to make sure it went to the people it needed to.
So, is this all made with the same original audience in mind that, the first Power Rangers had?
Because I want to...
but, what you're describing doesn't sound like a witch who sends rubber guys.
I mean, is it still every episode is a bad guy shows up at the end and they do weird arm movements?
Yep.
And the bad guy's I'm getting kicked out. My ass getting kicked.
And then they get into their big robots?
Yeah. So here, okay.
Does anyone ever start big? Is anyone ever I'm just going to be big from the jump?
You're usually so in Wild Force, there's actually, they come up with this where it's just okay, I'm just going to get big. I'm just going to do this. And one of the villains, because sometimes the villains have very compelling stories, is no, dude, that's a one-way street. You get big, you aren't getting small again. It's you get big, then you die. That is how that goes.
It's like a bee stinging.
Yeah.
Okay. But what about
you're turning him. I can see it. I can see in his eyes. You're turning him.
I'm still against it. So here's what I'm fearing. I'm fearing we're getting into a Rogue One scenario, because Rogue One is a movie that has a lot of themes in it that, when you lay them out on paper, are very compelling and interesting. Oh, it's an anti-war Star Wars movie. That's incredible. Oh, it's about how working together, how normal people working together can change things more than a Jedi could. Wow, that's incredible. Oh, that sounds so interesting. Wow, this is the most interesting Star Wars movie. Wow, but watching it fucking sucks. It's boring as hell, and I hate it.
It's my second favorite Star Wars.
So this is what I fear. You're able to list a number of things that are super cool and good, but and maybe Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the suckiest one. I probably guarantee it is. That's the only one I have a familiarity with.
Mystic Force is the suckiest one.
Are they wizards?
Yeah, they turn into their Megazords, so they're all cryptid theme. It's fun.
I'm pissed that the best thing you described was the worst one.
We'll get into this.
But I'm just saying the Power Rangers I've been exposed to, it involves people who can't act, stories that aren't good and that don't have anything interesting, and that it's even as a child watching it, you get bored and you're like, wait a minute, this sucks ass.
So you're talking about
So how
issues
does-
with execution.
Yeah. You do it get better?
I am doing a lot of reading. Like I am doing a lot of heavy lifting, and this show for babies has good themes. That being said, do you want me to just tell you a good one?
Give me a good one. Give me a good one.
This isn't even a show, so there's no bad acting. They have comics written by Kyle Higgins, Chicago native. It's called Beyond the Grid. It's a big arc. You can get it all collected. Tommy Oliver, in one universe, didn't get good. He stayed evil. And he gets stronger and kills Rita and then goes after. And this is, I'm not doing lifting for this. This is just it. And then he subjugates the earth. And then he's like, multiverse is there. And then he goes through every other Power Rangers season and goes to those worlds and destroys the Rangers that are there, takes their morphers and sucks that power in for himself. And the Rangers that are in our series have to go after him, and they run into the Rangers from the other series, and they work together. And let me find my fucking phone. There's a moment when all seems lost, and they're up against the wall, and they're like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then they go, guys, I think reinforcements are here. And they step outside, and then monocolored lights are falling from the sky, and the next thing you see is all these Rangers back to back to back to back.
That's a lot of Rangers.
Ready to fucking party. And they build a thing called the Grave Zord out of the remnants of the other Megazords. Everyone who has a Megazord, get out there. They combine together, and it is the Grave Zord, and it fucking whips scrote. It is so cool.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
And,
all right.
and that's a book you can read with your eyes.
That's real good.
It's great.
It's good.
It's a tasty meatball. It's a Boom comic. Go check that out. Beyond the Grid.
Joe, are we gonna become Power Rangers guys?
I'm easily convinced. To be clear, you should feel good that you convinced Tom, but also know, you could have just jingled keys in front of him.
You could have said the fucking Green Ranger had keys, and I'm like, oh god,
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, he put up a big front at the start, I'm not gonna like this, but he's already letting himself be convinced before you even started talking.
There's something that's great about the simplicity of Power Rangers, too, because as we talked about combining work and creating graphs, you can break all Power Rangers down to 10 different types and then at least 3 of each. And so if we wanted to get into it, I do have a Google sheet right here called the Power Rangers data sheet that lists every single Power Ranger that's ever existed, what their classifications are, and what their suit color is, and then go oh, Blue Rangers are usually smart with a dash of leader. And that's what the stats are for If Not Us, Then Who.
All right. I'm really impressed, actually. This rules.
Yeah, actually, I don't know how this happened. This is sort of a time paradox, but I actually, if you go back and listen to the tape, I liked Power Rangers at the start of this segment.
Yeah. Today, he was like, I'm really excited. We're going to talk about Power Rangers, the thing I
favorite
love and have always loved.
May the power protect you.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
So you just got done convincing Tom, and also me, but mainly Tom, that Power Rangers is worth consuming, that it is delicious slop that should go in our bodies.
Yummy, yummy.
That's the best way to describe it I have ever heard.
So we need to do a cross-examination now, because...
Yeah, you're in the hot seat now, bitch.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
So you have told us that you gave up on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Before you defend yourself, let me just sort of lay out the feel of the environment here. I told Tom to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because he was very ill once, and he's like, I'm going to have nothing to do. Give me something to watch. And I was like, you should check this out. I didn't really tell him anything about it. I was like, just watch it. It's good.
It's bizarre.
He watched 2 episodes, and then he had the actual gall to text me and say, this is really just about a little British boy being bullied. This isn't this bizarre at all. And I was like, are you just fucking keep
the fool?
just keep watching, I guess. Strap in, motherfucker, because it ramps up. And then you proceeded to, I think, consume everything that was available in like 4 days.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a lot.
It wasn't 4 days, but it was a very short amount of time.
In the way you can only do when you're like basically bedridden and your only energy available is to put TV shows in your head.
And I sort of lived a double life where I would live a day of my life and then it would be bedtime and I'm like, day one over. Now the JoJo's day begins. And I would watch a fuck ton of JoJo's until I fell asleep.
I also love it, clearly. I recommend it to him. Anyway, Tom and I talk about it a lot. One of our dumb things we like to do is just talk about stands and like what good stands would be to have.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that we have high investment in this. I'm going to attempt to be a partial moderator. I'm bringing this all up to just make it clear that I have biases and that Jojo whips sack because Raki is a wonderful author because he's very creative, but also he like just reads Snapple Cap facts and then he's like, this is what the whole season is about. Because one time I went to Italy and I got conned at the airport, and that has never left me. And that's what I'm doing from now on.
He is. I think the key is that he's a manga artist, which means that he has like 1 second every year that he can like be out of the house, and he sees a thing.
Yeah, like a caterpillar.
He deeply misunderstands the caterpillar.
They
on
wheel
a
him
basic
out with a
level.
blindfold on, and he's like, "Wait, reveal the scene to me now."
Yes. He sees the scene, he misunderstands it completely, and then it's like, this is going to be the basis for fucking everything. And it's incredible.
So we bring all this up because you tried to get into it, and you jumped ship at like what point?
I would actively say I'm a JoJo disrespecter.
Okay, okay.
Holy shit.
I jumped ship after, who the fuck? There was like a chariot race.
You didn't like the chariot race?
I got real tired. You know when sometimes you watch like I'm not gonna be this fucking person today. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy the chariot race, and and then like it was after that, and then Lisa died.
No, she didn't.
Someone got fucked up real bad.
She almost dies.
That's it. I think she almost died, and I was like, I think I'm good.
When you saw the chariot race and you were bored, is it because you were actually watching Ben-Hur? Because like,
yeah, how many different like mini jackets was the protagonist wearing? Because if it was one or less, you weren't watching JoJo's.
To get into it, one of my favorite things about an anime fight is when you are actively trying to figure out how is this person going to win at the same time. It is like a murder mystery in that way. It is like I am like taking the tools that you have given me and I'm figuring out how I am going to do this.
Also, just want to interrupt you here. You're describing JoJo's.
But wait, I don't believe JoJo gives us all of the information because then they jump to a different level and it becomes a little bit like, please nobody hit me or throw a drink at me. Sherlock, where it's like, I don't think I was given that information and I don't think I could have jumped to that conclusion.
See, I will actually agree with you insofar as the first 2 seasons where they're using the ripple. Or they're using,
the Hamon.
I didn't see a stand. So, like, I haven't seen what is, frankly, probably the coolest part, from what I understand.
It is like unto someone told you that Hunter x Hunter sucks and was boring, and they gave up before they got to Nen.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been told.
I will say that what you just described is like, how is this fight going to go? We have all this information, and you're trying to do the puzzle pieces in your brain. That's just every stand fight. Mm-hmm. Because unlike Hamon or the Ripple, which is, for people who don't know, is basically fancy kung fu breathing.
It makes your arm get yellow.
Yeah, and vampires hate it. And stands, by comparison, are... Well, first of all, they're powerful, robotic, and sexy brain ghosts.
Yeah, they come out of your brain, they're ghosts, they're big, and they're sexy.
Yeah, and they all have, like, a specific weird ability that is, like, pretty concrete. The rules, I'm not going to make it sound like it's hard sci-fi or anything, but
it's an anime. It has rules. It has a structure.
There's rules to stands, but the fun thing about stands is that literally every stand breaks at least one of them. And there's no rule that hasn't been broken.
So the thing you're describing, what you really like, is you're going to get that by the boatload if you started season 3. I think you would really enjoy it. I just want to give an example of. So we love season 4 because the other seasons are like a big epic story with a bad guy. Season 4 is you're fucking around in the suburbs.
Yeah, there's just a kid in the suburbs, and he's just going around, and there's shit happening.
Yeah,
like
it's really weird. But anyway, his power is that he can heal things. He can repair things. So like his stand is like if you broke a pot, he could punch it and the pot reforms. So the fights with him are fucking incredible because the stuff he does with a power that is mostly healing to fight guys is just top shelf shit. I think the best example is, so when he uses his power, obviously like the pieces will reform. There's a part where the bad guy is like kicking his ass and there's like blood and glass on the ground from the bad guy, and he makes the glass and the blood go back into the guy.
That's good. That's good shit.
There's one part where there is an enemy stand that is made of water, and
I've seen this clip.
Yeah, I'm going to tell it for the listeners. I think I showed
You
you
did.
this clip. It's one of the fucking best things of any anime. So Josuke, who has Crazy Diamond, who can repair things, is on the phone, and he's being told like, "Hey, in your house, there's an enemy stand that's made of water. Don't drink anything because it'll get inside of your tummy and fuck up your tummy." And he's like, "I won't." And then he like looks over and he sees his mom drinking something, and he's like, "Oh shit." I can see the enemy stand in her mouth looking at me like, hey, bitch, I'm going to fuck up your mama's tummy. And so he's just like, 1 second, I got this. So he summons Crazy Diamond, who picks up a glass bottle in its hand. He then goes up behind his mom. Crazy Diamond smashes the bottle in its hand so it's broken, punches his mom through the stomach, completely just decimating her whole spine, and then pulls his hand back, activates the healing power, simultaneously healing the bottle around the aquatic stand, trapping it, and then also healing his mother so quickly that she didn't even realize she got punched through. And he's just back on the phone being like, "Hey, yo, I caught it in a bottle. What I do now?"
Yeah, and his mom is like, "Oh, that was weird. I felt faint for a second."
Another fucking awesome thing is at one point Josuke is being chased by a stand that can go like 60 miles per hour, and he's on a motorcycle and he can't slow down because he'll get killed. And there's a baby in the road, a baby in a carriage, and he's going really
It's the
fucking
speed
fast.
thing.
Yeah.
So he summons Crazy Diamond, who then punches, like an uppercuts the fucking motorcycle that he's on so hard that it shoots him in the air. The motorcycle breaks apart. He goes over the baby, repairs it, and then just lands and keeps going.
Good. That's good shit.
So what I'm telling you is that you need to just even if you don't want to finish the
I need to just jump to season 4.
3, right? 'Cause
Well, season 3 is when they introduce stands, but the stands aren't quite at the level.
I get stands. I get the idea. You
Yeah.
don't have to do a lot to get me to sign up for like cool like shit. I think one of the other things with JoJo, I'm realizing now as I'm talking about it, is I love music references.
They have so fucking many.
Well, here's the thing. Then they have nothing to do with the thing. There's just a man named Tom Petty.
See, that's the best thing in the world. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
I will say I think it's very funny that the stand names are all band based and half of them are thematic.
Yes, some of them are and some of them are not.
Like-
It's incredibly good.
Metallica is like the power of magnets and fucking with the iron in people's bloodstream.
Like that.
Makes sense.
White Album is basically a suit made of ice that you can wear.
Yeah, and he like skates at high speed because
it's
he's like
white.
frictionless.
There's Sex Pistols, which are 6 little goblins that live inside a gun and ride on the bullets and can like move them around at will, and they can like talk a lot.
And
they're very funny.
And he has to feed them salami. Like this is also the Italy arc.
Yeah. But then you have shit like Kraftwerk, which is just the stasis rune from Zelda, but before.
Yeah, and it's not thematic at all. The other thing that you will probably enjoy this is because if you watch it on Crunchyroll, they can't like say the fucking band names.
Oh yeah, they're not allowed. This is one reason why you should do the subs, not the dubs, because the Japanese voice actors will say the band name in English.
Just straight the fuck up.
They'll be like some like Japanese words, Sex Pistols.
But they change them in the actual subtitles. So what happens is you have a stand that makes zippers everywhere, and it's supposed to be sticky fingers.
Because it's got the zipper on the album cover.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just called Zipper Man.
That stand I talked about, Sex Pistols, that's 6 bullets. They just call that 6 bullets.
Yeah, see, and like that's like I'm interested, I'm engaged, and then like I'm like, oh, you know what else is cool? Nan abilities. You know what else is cool? Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah. Chapter 7 bankruptcy, we won't even talk about that because that's too fucking complicated.
It's just actually how fucking bankruptcy works.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, there's definitely things that I'm like, I see at Jojo, and I'm like, this is a thing that, like, I should like this. But I will give season 4 a try. I look at the two of you, and in this sicko household, I will make this promise. In this sicko house, I will make this sicko promise, and I will watch some of season 4.
And we haven't talked about this because it's hard to put forth this truth in audio form. But the thing that I think is the most incredible about JoJo's is that this is a guy who, again, he never leaves his house. He's never, seen a human being, and he hasn't had a conversation in years because he is a manga artist and he isn't allowed to. But, there's never been a more stylish person than fucking Hirohiko Araki. He is obsessed with fashion and draws the most fucked clothes for these people to wear. And, there is a fucking... In the ending credits for season 4... And the only input that Araki has in the anime is what Western pop song they play during the ending. And season 4, the song that they play is fucking "I Want You" by Savage Garden. And there's a point when the fucking singer of Savage Garden says, "I need to, I want to," they cut from what they're showing to Josuke in basically lingerie doing sex poses with the most fucking sultry eyes as he lip syncs "I need to, I want to." And it's just that no one does that shit but JoJo's. And it's so and it's getting close to being queer representation, except that I don't think that because this motherfucker's never gone outside, I don't think he knows what sex is. It's so good.
Yeah.
Dio was hot as fuck.
Yeah, he's a beefy guy. He's a beefy, sexy vampire.
I've met Dio.
You haven't met season 3 Dio. He comes back.
I've seen the you're approaching me. You're walking instead of running away, you are walking directly at me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude.
Yeah. The other thing that's really cool about the JoJo fights that no other anime really has, it's a little bit what you described, where it's how are they gonna, how do the rules play out here?
Solving.
The other thing is, everyone is not very durable. Basically, in a lot of anime, people get beat up nonstop. But basically, a lot of stand fights they're trying to one-hit kill each other because if they get the ability to connect in the way they need to, they win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's one stand that its power is if it can, fulfill a requirement, you can fold you up into a piece of paper and you can't get out, and then you're done.
Huh.
So the fight isn't a contest of fisticuffs, and that's why season 3 isn't as good. There's a lot of stand battles where the end is Jotaro decided to punch them real hard, and then it was too hard for them, so that's the end.
So that's that.
Yeah, but a lot of so many fucking stand battles, the formula, such as it is an enemy stand appears and is literally unbeatable. it appears to be so powerful that nothing could possibly overcome it. And then the second half of the fight is they figure something out about the power that actually, if we were like given a piece of paper that had the stand's power on it at the beginning and read it all, it'd be fucking so easy to one-hit kill this guy. And they just need to figure out like what is it that makes me one-hit kill this guy. And then when they do, they're like, oh fucking, there it is. Kick his ass.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Listen, you have earned my respect and my promise that I will start season 4.
Yeah. That's good.
Do we want to push him to season 5? Because that's where they start to get really fucky.
Well, the reason I think season 4 will be cool because it still has characters from, because like Joseph Joestar, who you have met and was the focus of season 2, is actually still a character. He's unbelievably old.
Yeah, because it's 1999 now, and he was going around in the 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's old as shit, but like it is still grounded in the stuff you saw very directly in terms of characters. So I think season 4 might be a better starting point. And also, I'm going to suggest season 4 because it got away from the sort of flow of anime, and it's really that weird suburban feel where instead of being like Monster of the Week, which it has, it's more like there's some goofy shit happening in this town, and we don't really know.
Yeah.
We don't really know what's up.
Yeah, like the main villain, like there is a main villain. He doesn't show up until halfway through, and his plan is is to just keep doing what he's been doing his entire life.
Yeah, he's just a serial killer, and he wants to continue to be a serial killer. He's not like Dio, where he's like, oh, my goal is to become god of everything.
I'm an endless vampire, and I will be a vampire forever.
Yeah, no, his goal is like, I would like it if no one ever found out that I was serial killing.
You know, it'd be fucking sick. Doing what I do.
Yep. And he also looks exactly like David Bowie. It's not a joke. It's on purpose. He looks like David Bowie, and he has a stand that has 3 separate sort of sub abilities, and they're each named after Queen songs.
Love it. Okay. I'm interested.
Yeah, we want, okay, cool. We want to do an in-depth sicko splainer on JoJo.
I listened to that.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I have subscribed to Standoff. Like I am like aware of JoJo in the way that like maybe I won't like watching it, but maybe I would love listening to 2 people I care about talk about it.
We haven't done a singular deep dive since the Hunter x Hunter one because initially we were like, we have these 4 pillars, we can't dedicate a whole episode to it. And now as we get feedback and we build an audience and people talk with us, it's like maybe we should drop an in-depth explainer or a deep dive on an anime once in a while. Yeah. And JoJo would probably have to be one of the first ones because it's all I think about sometimes. I had a big project for a while. I've given up on it because I've sort of come to terms with the fact that, I can't be all things. There are some things I'm not good at. I'm not a game designer. I just don't have it in me. But I spent a lot of time trying to do a JoJo's game. But the one thing that I got out of that is that I have so many fucking fan-made standos.
Yes, that's so the good shit.
Fucking good ones.
Get them OCs, though.
Oh, my God. If I had infinite money, I would just fucking commission so many artists to draw all of my fucking OZ stands.
The other thing about that game is that on the character sheet, you specifically had a line for the Crunchyroll legally distinct name.
Yes. So the rules were that your stand has to be a music reference, but you also have to have a legally distinct version. Listener, I think just some treaties for the listener. Here are some fucking incredible stand names and their Crunchyroll equivalents. Some boring ones. Crazy Diamond is Joe's case stand. It's actually Shining Diamond in the subs. Whatever. That's sort of like a little thing. We already heard about Zipperman and 6 Bullets. In part 5, there is a stand that is a little fucking plane. It's just a jet plane that's small and shoots bullets and guns and bombs, but they're small. That's called Aerosmith. In the subs,
I just remembered.
It's a Lil Bomber.
LIL apostrophe.
There's one that's a stand that can sort of recreate events from the past. That's called Moody Blues. Oh, you know that was called Moody Jazz. We mentioned Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk, the old techno band from Germany. You know that one. And the subtitles. It's called arts and crafts. They named that one arts and crafts.
They're not even trying.
Another one. This is what I fucking just love. Like, I actually like this a lot. In part 5, there is a girl that they are escorting along, and she starts off as sort of just like a normal teen girl who's, with these mafia kids who all have special powers. But, and at first she's like a liability, but she grows as a person, becomes stronger, and eventually she awakens her own standability, which is called Spice Girl. Oh, man. Guess what they call it in the subs? Oh, they call it Spicy Lady.
Love it.
That's
so
genuinely better than Spice Girl.
Honestly, might be. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll both do our homework. I will read that Power Rangers graphic novel.
Reconvene here next year, the same time.
Yeah. Yes.
Deal. Fucking, yeah. Let's do it.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
So we wanted to pose you a question. This is something Tom and I have thought on quite a bit, which is, I feel like there is a generational sort of impulse, and I'm saying millennials, if in case we weren't clear on this, to sort of remix and reuse culture in sort of this aggressive, creative sort of way, which obviously is a huge thing behind Interstitial.
Mm-hmm. Huge thing behind Shuffle Quest.
That aspect of us is probably the least interesting part of it, because it's definitely part of a huge trend. And we wanted to ask you, why is that such a powerful impulse, and why is it happening so much now?
Well, I don't know if it's happening more now than it has been happening, because fan fiction sites have existed for so long. And I think a thing that is bringing them to saying the forefront feels disingenuous now. What is making other people who weren't involved with them more aware with them now is the fact that, fan fiction sites and fan fiction itself used to be a huge kind of harbor for queer folks and people of color and women to make content that was I love Star Wars. What if Star Wars was written for me?
Yeah.
Right.
And that you would write fan fiction and it would fucking rule. And they've been doing that for years. And now, since we all now know more people that aren't just white dudes, we're aware now that fan fiction has existed and has ruled for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And adding into that, these stories mean a lot to us.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I'm going to get into Star Wars now because I've been thinking about Star Wars a lot. Star Wars means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Star Wars is always good? No.
Yeah, Star Wars is rarely good.
Star Wars? Star Wars. Can Star Wars be good? The answer is yes.
It's not like the Sonic ratio yet, but it's close.
It's getting there. Oh, that's funny because I only like the 3D Sonics too.
Oh, what the fuck?
As the prequel respecter. It's I can tell a better story for me and my friends utilizing the pieces of Star Wars. I can't trust a corporation to tell me. I can't trust Disney or Lucasfilms or any of them to tell me a Star Wars story that I will like. I'm surprised and excited when they do. The Last Jedi, I'm like, wow, shit, you did a good one. Good job. You all have it in you.
Yep.
But I can't count on that.
Yeah.
Because there's movies sandwiched on either sides of those. But I know that if you put me in with Star Wars, then I can start telling stories about clone troopers after the Clone Wars who are growing old on a planet and trying to recontextualize their trauma, knowing what they did because of the chip, and having to deal with that, and then kind of approaching the Force in the way that they can to slow down their advanced aging from an empire that wants to kill them, and recontextualizing their trauma and understanding Jedi and the Force in a unique way while trying to kind of atone for the terrible things they did. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Star Wars won't do that.
So is it just that, just sort of this pop culture ephemera that is shoved into our brains, whether we like it or not? Is it just a tool for getting the world building out of the way, or rather, building a sort of context, a toy box that everyone sort of already knows that lets you get to the story you want to tell
That's a super useful part of it. Is the like the shared understanding that we all have about these characters. That's part of why I think Interstitial can tell really emotional stories. Is because yeah, fuck it. I know who Cisco is. I get it.
Yeah.
I know what his character beat is here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and none of us have to do that heavy lifting. And so instead we can just paint with those broad strokes and get immediately to the nuanced take of it and the interesting read on that. And I think that is super valuable. But also a big thing I think about in fan fiction and like creating is like, it's fun to take the collectibles off the wall and make them toys again. It's fun to take from the corporations and media enterprises that don't want you to play with their toys. They want you to pay $13 and go, look at the toy show we have put on for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what I want. I want to play with those toys, and I can because you literally cannot stop me. Like, no one can stop me from playing a game in my own house. No one can stop me from podcasting's the Wild West. I don't know when that's going to come crashing down.
Pretty soon. They're trying
fucking hard. But, like, no one can stop me from releasing an episode where Kiba from Naruto yells at Shinji from across a lunchroom in Angel Grove. Like, there's, like, I can do these things and, like, create unique interactions, and that's fun.
Like, I've described to people Interstitial as Make the Dollies Kiss the game.
Yeah. I found a genre name because I also have a lot of feelings on tabletop and genre. And the genre name that I have picked is Funko Punk.
Jesus Christ. I hate how accurate that is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's evocative. You know what I mean. And here's the thing. Shuffle Quest is also Funko Punk.
Yeah, we're not going to disagree with you.
And like, I think that shit rules, and it's cool, and like, telling stories in that way is fun and freeing. And like, I'm not a good like word writer. I'm not good at dialogue, but I know how Anakin Skywalker talks. I can like kind of match that cadence. I can paint the broad strokes. You know, I'm Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell a story with that.
It's funny you mention that it has all this sort of built-in context for these characters. Like, you know what Anakin will do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's funny because what you're also describing is sort of what Western Cape comics have done forever themselves. They are taking the toys off the wall, but the people doing it are also the corporations at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the remixing of those things, those IPs that they already own, what does it end up being? Well, Spider-Man says fuck now. Like, that's kind of what it ends up feeling a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's not what I want. What I want is Spider-Man to be living in a house with his boyfriend, the Human Torch, and his boyfriend, Iceman, and they just hang the fuck out. That's
Hell
what
yeah.
I want, and Marvel will not give me that, so I will give me that.
Fuck.
And, like, you know what? It was free for me to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay anyone else to do this.
I think that part of it is that if these corporations are putting in so much fucking money and investment and effort to get these things to be sort of like characters, modern myth characters that we know better than like real people.
Yeah,
just like we.
Disney has said as much that they're interested in buying characters and everything that is associated with those characters. They want to put them on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that we're going to get into in another episode. But like a lot of why I don't like modern Cape comics is that like the stories fucking suck. No one gives a shit about the stories, and they're all like whatever, and they all get canceled before they can even like happen anyway. The only thing that like would make you buy it is that like, well, I know that I like Iron Man because like a bunch of billionaires are putting a lot of effort into making me like Iron Man, so I do. And I think that's something we do in Shuffle Quest is that like one of the sort of ethos of the show is that like we never respect any of the places we go to.
Disrespect your surroundings.
Exactly. Yes. And so like yeah. I like to fucking just take this shit and be like, it's actually really dumb.
Yeah,
It's fun.
It's fun to point at the seams and to recognize them when the people in charge desperately want you to not see them. They don't want you to know how fragile their hold is on the fucking story. And like that's part of that is because they make their stories in such a way that they can spread that net as far as they can.
Sure.
And so like, can I tell you about a project that I'm going to be working on later this year? We don't have a name for it yet, but we're playing a game. We're going to start at the end of The Last Jedi, and then we're playing a factions game where we will play out the next 1,000 years of Star Wars, and we will watch factions change and grow. And you know what? Maybe there's more than two sides to a fucking story. Maybe there's nuance in there. Maybe the Jedi are actually ancient. Maybe there are new Force traditions. Maybe maybe there are lightsabers everywhere. Maybe there's no lightsabers. Everything is completely different, and it's not the same fucking thing fed to me. Like, you can do that.
Not only is that appealing, it literally would not happen because you do not spend $1 gazillion to buy Star Wars and then not have lightsabers.
Yeah, you have to give the people the slop they want, but the slop they want is not the slop they want. It's the slop. You have to use the same slop. You know, here's
There's
the fucking,
safe slop.
Yeah, the safe slop. Here's the fucking thing. I forgot what I was gonna say. Give me a second. Oh, and you're gonna be shocked to hear me say it, but it all comes back to capitalism.
Yeah!
Oh.
Come out!
I truly do wonder if this impulse to remix this stuff. I mean, because everyone's always going to make stories that are for them. Obviously, that's been the way since human history. But like, I wonder if this impulse to specifically take sort of the pop culture detritus that's forced on us and remix it would be as strong if there wasn't a system in place that incentivized and, in fact, demanded that those in power constantly gave us shit that sucked and wasn't good and was not interesting. Like Marvel movies have to suck. Like, I'm sorry, like they do, and like they suck in a way that like it's fun to watch them. Like, I'm not gonna say I hate the Marvel movies, even though I'm sort of like a skeptic.
They suck in the way a Mountain Dew sucks.
Exact. Ding.
Really well said. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. But like, I wonder if that wasn't like if we didn't live in such a world, would there still be that impulse?
Mm-hmm. I think so, because I think like while there is something to be said about the actual like praxis of like going, no, this is my toy now, motherfucker. Like, I'm gonna treat this character right. I'm gonna do this thing, take this thing that I relate to, and make it better, and not like fucking like sidestep around the things that are important about it. Like, while there is that, I think the ability to, like you said earlier, like have the shared universe and have the like shared like knowledge and understanding, have that mythic understanding of stories that we all can just work from, have that as a starting point, I think that is so valuable. And especially taking a lot of the pressure off of like aspiring writers and aspiring like creators from like having to like figure out how words work. Because like I can't do that, but I can do an okay impression.
Riley, thank you so much for going sicko mode with us.
Yeah, it whipped.
My inner sicko broke free of me in my brain like a stand.
Yeah.
And has been floating behind me.
Oh, whoa,
this
it's
whole
so
time.
dope. It's so sensual. It looks like a robot that's half finished.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you for having me. This has been a really fucking fun time.
Where can people find all your stuff?
Hey, if you want to find me or find the things I do, you can find me on Twitter at RevRyeBread. That's Rev like Reverend, Rye Bread like Rye. I just dabbed bread.
Jesus.
He did dab.
You can also find the podcast that I do mostly over on the Orange Grows. There's If Not Us Then Who, which is a Power Rangers inspired actual play podcast playing a game called If Not Us Then Who. We do some things with that. It's scary. We just had like a straight up horror episode.
Fuck yeah.
It was spooky. You can also find me on God, I feel like I don't do a lot. You can find me on Bed Bath & Bee. There is for those that don't know, Bed Bath & Bionicle was a show that I did, and then it ended and became Bed Bath & Beyblade, but I didn't know that it ended, and I was replaced by a creature named Biley Blopkins. That person trapped me and my friend Joe in the Red Star, and we've had to break the 7 seals. We are on the final seal as far as we know. We are on the Bed Bath & Bionicle seal. It's an ARG. Please help us. Please help them finish this cipher so I can be free of this podcast. It's the aforementioned 10-hour Boruto show as well.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, questions? Batman, Boruto, the
How
bouncer.
do you do this?
This is a lot of output.
I record in the mornings.
Tom has to like massage my brain to get the goofs out. I'm like, I'm really having some depression today, and he's like, what if you thought about a stand? And I'm like, I guess I could do that.
I guess I'm depressed and have a cool stand.
Yeah, and he tricks me every time.
I am a extremely intense extrovert, and I need human attention and contact to know that I exist.
Hell yeah. Riley. So, imagine I'm a poor soul who wants to play a tabletop game so bad. I have all this money and I don't know what to do with
Yeah,
it.
don't worry, buddy. I'll take that money from you. You come over to. You can follow 3 sites. I'm going to give them to you. Linksmithgames.com. That's where you can buy my games on my website.
Number 1.
You can also find the secondary link to it at mymothercangotohell.com. That's trauma. I renew that link every year on Mother's Day. Then you can also go to revrybread.itch.io, which is another great place to buy my games, such as Interstitial, Our Hearts Intertwined, If Not Us, Then Who, or I Nutwa.
That man, don't like that.
Don't worry, the Kickstarter was in November, so it was all November. I also have I'm doing right now. It's January. Is the Record Collection Jam, where people are making RPGs based on their favorite songs or albums.
Hell yeah.
Last year, somebody made an amazing game called Hey Man, I Love You, but no fucking way. And it's based on the Front Bottoms Town of the Hawk. And it is, you listen to that album as you play this game about growing up and trying to get out of your hometown. And it's amazing.
That's pretty good.
That's up on itch.io. Other games I make are like School Spirit, a game where your playbooks just constantly change because it's your emotions. Your playbook is like amorous, angry, anxious, and like it's just constantly changing as you play the game. It doesn't stay solid. Or have I released anything else, mate? There's extra playbooks for Interstitial, but I'm working on other stuff, such as, here we go, a Forged in the Dark game where instead of the downtime being something you gloss over, it's all the downtime, and then you gloss over the missions.
Hell yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's awesome.
Transmission, Our Families Together, which is a Fast and Furious game, which is kind of also Interstitial Volume 2. We'll see. And finally, this big faction game that I'll be playing on the Star Wars thing. So, linksmithgames.com, revrybread.itch.io.
This motherfucker got a spiel already.
I do it a lot.
Whew. Well,
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This has literally been a blast. I so rarely get to podcast the same room as other humans.
it really feels good, doesn't
It's
it?
nice.
Anyway, thank y'all for listening. I have been Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We'll see ya next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.